Welcome to the Balanced Body Podcast, where Sherri Griggs, owner of Balanced Body Health and Wellness in Omaha, talks to us about health, wellness, and balancing hormones.
We're talking hormones, health, the holidays. What's another H?
Oh my goodness. Hormones, health, holidays, hope.
Hope. And you know what? I think that's the big one, is hope, because what do people do during the holidays? They hope that they're not gaining too much weight because they know January is right around the corner. And then everybody's got weight loss goals, and then you hit it hard, right? So hope is big in the air.
Because you can't do it during the holidays. In fact, I have a patient that said, whatever you're going to tell me to do, I have to wait till after the holidays. There's too much good food. I can't wait.
It's rich. It's delicious. You got family. You're making bad decisions, or quick decisions, I would probably say, right?
Exactly. That's just it. Although I did talk to another gentleman today that said, you know what, when I know we're going to be busy, I'll make a soup or I'll make something at home so that everybody can kind of eat on the go, but they're still eating healthy. And I told him I was really happy to hear that was a really good game plan.
That's totally great. In fact, I might steal it and say it's my own.
You should. It is soup season. It is crock pot weather. There's nothing better than, putting something in the crock pot. And I'll even take a lot of the soup recipes and I'll put those in the crock pot and just on low. And I get home at night and dinner's ready.
I love that feeling when you walk into the door and you've almost forgotten that you have a crock pot meal, sitting there just waiting to be ready. And It wafts in and hits you in the face, and you're just like, the day is saved.
It is, because now you're not trying to figure out. You're in the fridge. What can I eat? What can I grab? It's getting later. I don't have time to cook. I'm tired. It's, and this is such a perfect leadway into weight loss, because that's just it. So much of the food that we have out there is not nutritious. It doesn't feed our body, and it's not really food. It's processed, it's stuff, it's quick, and it causes inflammation in our body, which causes our body to hold weight. It's just, I was listening to a book today, and he was talking about, it's hard to find food, even in the grocery store. You're limited, even if you can get, always recommend getting foods that are organic so that you have less toxins in your body and pesticides. But even then, by the time it gets to the store, it's really started to lose a lot of its nutrients. Who knows how long it's been sitting there? I'm reminding people that there are a lot of, frozen vegetables don't get the accolades they should, because generally they're flash frozen at the height of their nutrition, and they're many times less expensive.
Oh, really?
So you can get some good vegetables frozen. Now, obviously, if you want to eat raw broccoli, it's probably not so good frozen. But if you're somebody that puts it in recipes or steams it, frozen is amazing.
The way to go.
Costco's got a great organic frozen broccoli, and it just tastes so much better than most other broccolis.
Wow. Well, I'm going to have to try that. I figured, since we're talking general weight loss and kind of screaming towards the end of the year, some of the things that I think might be beneficial to really tie into and discuss, I think, is, obviously what we're already discussing, like the choices we make and things that we're thinking about, and how it's tough to really kind of consider this through the holidays. But, where I thought we could lean into is just your perspective on how you address somebody's weight loss journey, because I have an idea, just because every time we talk about this, it always leads to, what is it? It's what's right for you and your body and how you feel. But I don't want to feed you what I would want to hear. I just want to hear your ideas on sort of a general goal and how people should think about it as they go through the holidays. So when they're on the other side and they're ready to make that choice, what should they expect from you? Right? So that's kind of how I was thinking we discuss this. What are your thoughts first and foremost?
Well, so if they're thinking about, what's it going to look like for me on the other side, one of the ways that I'm going to address that is, one, I need to know what the factors are in their life, in their body, in their metabolism that is keeping them from losing weight. We know that if you cut too many calories, the body goes into starvation mode. And the problem with that is you shut your metabolism down and you can't turn it back on. I mean, it takes a long time to do, and you have to do it. You can't just all of a sudden start eating more calories because you just gain weight because your body has slowed down so much. So it depends on my person. Is this somebody that's been dieting heavily, right? Then we have to have a different game plan. But first, we have to make sure that their metabolism is running properly and that they have all of the chemicals or hormones that their body needs for the metabolism to run properly. That's really the basis for everyone. Because if you have a thyroid issue, then you're right, that transmission not running at the right speed, not running fast enough. If you've got cortisol issues, that's inflammation. It causes you to hold weight. If you have low testosterone as a man or even as a woman, that you lose your muscle mass, that slows down your metabolism, that causes you to hold weight. Right? So if you're a woman and you're estrogen dominant, so let's say we want to make sure those things are all cleared up. Or you walk into me and you say, you know what? My hormones, everyone's handling my hormones. I'm good. Still going to double check. Because thyroid, I'm going to double check it because thyroid is a specialty. And even many of our endocrinologists who should be thyroid specialists are not. They are doing other things, which is nothing wrong with that, but they're not checking the thyroid level that the body uses, the free T3 thyroid level. And we can have other levels that look perfect, but that doesn't mean that our body's getting what we need to work the most efficiently. But let's say it all is. Right? Yeah. All its hormones are working perfectly. Then I look at your background. What has been your experience with weight loss? What have you tried so far? I have a patient, 5'2", 338 pounds. What had she tried so far? She had tried phentermine when she was in high school, and this is a weight loss drug that is a stimulant, and she lost weight, but as soon as she went off of it, the weight back on. She tried one other weight loss drug, I'm not sure what it was, and she lost the weight. As soon as she went off of it, the weight went back on. So are we dealing with some leptin level issues? Are we dealing with some inflammation? You know, these medications should be assistance, not crutches, so that when your crutches are taken away, you fall down, right? They should be more like a cane, okay? They should be more like a cane that just helps you get around better, but it isn't, you don't have to have it to keep walking, right? Where if someone's on crutches, you take the crutches away and falling over.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah. So we need to find out what their history is. Depending on what they've done to their body, they may have decreased leptin levels. They may have decreased, there may be some other, hormones, which leptin is one, that are off, and we need to check those levels. We want to make sure that what we're doing for you is, something that can be sustained, right? We know statistically the infamous skinny shots, the GLP-1s, right? 80% of the people put the weight back on.
Why is right?
That? Yeah, 80%.
And GLP-1, for somebody like me who doesn't know what that is.
Yeah, it's a peptide, right?
Okay.
It's a peptide. It's a medication that originally was found to be, it's been for diabetes, for type 2 diabetes. Slows down how fast our metabolism, how fast our food empties out of our stomach. I don't want to say our metabolism because that's completely different. The speed at which food passes through your system is different than your metabolism. So it slows down the speed of which food passes through our system, so we're not as hungry, and less sugar dumps into the body all at once.
I see.
Okay?
And so I'm thinking of a name brand right now, but So those are the types of drugs that people are kind of like hip to recently, because a lot of people are trying to get, from work from home bod to better bod.
Right. Right. Your semaglutides, your tirzepatides, these are your, so that GLP-1, glucagon, oh my gosh, slipping my brain here on that. I want to say glucagon-like peptide. And so what it does is it's normally this GLP-1 is released from our intestines after we eat, and it's to boost insulin secretion and reduce the amount of glucose that's released from the liver. So less sugar in the body, decrease the blood sugar levels, right? Get rid of our appetite. We feel full longer, decrease appetite, less desire to eat. Mm-hmm. Okay. So that's what everyone's doing. A lot of people are doing these shots. They work. Things happen fast, but it's not sustainable. We call people skinny fat.
Oh.
So they get their fat to muscle ratio tested, and you look at them and they look thin, but they're all fat. They have no muscle.
Oh, interesting.
And that is part of the reason why when they go off this medication, they gain weight, because muscle is your metabolism. The more muscle you have, the higher your metabolism. So if you've lost all your muscle or you're low on muscle, then you're going to gain weight because your appetite comes back. And when it comes back, if you haven't learned how to eat properly, then you're going to gain weight. And most of the time, many of these people, I know people that have gotten this medication online. I know people where their doctors just prescribed it for them and said, here, take these shots, take this much this week, take this much this week. They don't tell them, don't go up if you're having nausea. Don't do this. They don't teach them anything. They just let them go pick the bottle up and give themselves shots.
Wow.
There's other people that, they're saying, I'm managing you. They give them a shot once a week. They put them on a scale once a week, say, how you feeling? And send them out the door. They don't teach them how to eat. They don't ask them what they're eating. They don't put them on an in-body to see if they're losing muscle. So we're setting these people up to fail. We're not giving them, it's like we are building a house without a foundation.
So just throwing rods into the ground and hoping that the roof stays up.
Hoping the house stays up, right? So we're throwing instead of a foundation, it's a GLP-1, it's your semaglutide. And then we're building on top of that. And when we take that out, it all falls apart.
Oh my gosh. So if I was to, talk about your process then, not only are you trying to customize it based on what you see from the hormones and the testing that you do on the front end, but then you're trying to maintain weight loss long term by creating these foundational elements to, say you're working with me and then you're like, well, John, it seems like your past has been a little spotty on the weight loss journeys because, and then you're pointing it out and then supporting me with some great information and then saying, this is how we're going to even it out. Make sure that you keep this off as we go.
Because then it becomes a lifestyle, not a diet.
I like that. Lifestyle versus diet.
Lifestyle versus diet, or lifestyle versus quick fix, or lifestyle versus weight loss drug, right? There are so many things we can do when you hit the plateau. So my gal I told you about, that had all these things that worked great until she went off of them. And, that was one of the comments that her husband had made to her. And she said, no, this time I'm doing it different. Well, we are doing it different. Just taking the most inflammatory foods out of her diet caused a 19-pound weight loss.
Oh, wow.
And yeah. And so then by continuing to keep them out, and so she also had something called insulin resistance, which is something I would test for. When you have that means your cells can't, and we've talked about it in other podcasts, but it means your cells can't use the sugar, right, for energy. So because the cells can't use the sugar for energy, then the cells tell the pancreas, hey, you need to make some more insulin because we need energy. Insulin's going to open it up so we can get energy. We can get sugar. And the more insulin you make, the more weight you hold. So this insulin makes you hold weight. Last time we tested her, she no longer showed insulin resistance.
Wow.
So inflammation, foods, the type of food you're eating. For her, this is where she is such a great example. She didn't show a reaction to any of the inflammatory foods when she reintroduced them. Not one.
Wow.
Would have been easier for her if we could say, oh, it's eggs, stop eating eggs and your life will be great. It was nothing. But here's the deal. She continued to eat the way she learned to eat because she was so motivated at that weight loss. She's still losing weight, but because she's eating real food.
Huh.
She's not eating processed stuff anymore. She's not going to get a coffee every day with sugar-free syrup in it, chemicals, inflammation. The money she spent for her $7 coffee every day is about what she's spending on her supplement. She's not even spending that much on her supplements a month, honestly. Her supplements per month to help her body use the nutrients, to replace the nutrients she was low on, costs less than that coffee every day did per month.
Interesting. See, and it's so funny because I always try to think of things in that nature just because I'm a marketing person. So marketing for me is just, you use these little triggers that are almost like, myths and fads, right? Like, don't drink a $7 coffee a day and then you can afford a Mercedes, which I've totally said in a campaign, by the way. But, when you think about it that way, not only are you getting, you're paying for your health and your life forward and enjoying life in between meals a little bit better. But like you are fixing some of these issues that may be unknown. And that was one of the things that I kind of wrote down when we decided to talk about this, because what surprises me, and it shouldn't have, but what surprises me when I think of weight loss journeys and things I've tried in the past and things I haven't tried in the past, it's always come back to, I didn't do some of the basics that they tell you because I thought I could just create my own path through this. And a part of that was just knowing what you're putting in your body. What food are you feeding your body? Because a lot of times people don't know. I thought applesauce was a good food and it's chock full of sugar.
Right. And even when you get no sugar added applesauce, well, again, the book I was listening to today, as this woman is telling people, drink juice. And I'm like, no, don't drink juice.
Don't drink juice.
That's empty that's sugar. It's pure sugar with no fiber. Yeah. You need to eat the whole fruit, eat the whole vegetable. Okay.
Yeah.
Juicing is a fad, right? I don't even know how old this book is. I should look. But these things, they're not empty calories, but they're sugar without any fiber, without any protein, they're just sugar, right?
Yeah.
These fat things, or even John, you said these basics, but did they meet you where you were? If you were to say, if I sit here, and this is what people did for me back in the day, here's your meal plan. Here's what you're going to eat. You're going to make this pancake. You're going to eat for breakfast. You're going to make this. You're going to eat for lunch. It's going to be 4 ounces of chicken. It's going to be this. It's going to be that. Well, did you even ask me what I like? Right?
No.
Did you even ask me, what do I have time for? That's where my health coach comes in. That's what she does with my people, right? When it's talking, how can you eat? What can I do? She has all kinds of, she meets them where they're at. She's able to give them recipes. She's able to give them, snacks that, I'd rather you not have processed food, but if you have to eat on the run, have these things with you, carry these things with you. This is the best that we have out there. If it's not homemade, or make your own. Honestly, my own protein snacks taste so much better than anything I can buy.
Really?
And I have a super easy one. that I make. And it's really good. And I'm like eating it going, this doesn't seem right. Okay. But but again, it has to do with ingredients, because now if you're using a protein powder, you got to make sure it's clean. So, again, if I tell you to drink these shakes or tell you to do this, it's got to be what you're ready to do. And it also has to do motivation. We all want the quick fix, right? We all want it to be easy.
Yeah.
I can promise you, if you build those habits, it's easy. Once the habits are built, it's easy to do.
Okay. One thing that you talked about, and I kind of wanted to go back to real quick, was you mentioned and talked about a plateau. Like, are these weight loss plateaus something that's hard to go over because it's a hurdle, because it's like all of a sudden you change one thing and you're doing like large calorie decreases or something, and then you kind of start adding foods back in, and that's the plateau? Or like, what? Explain to me a plateau in a little bit more detail, if you don't mind.
Sure. So a plateau is you get to a point where you've been losing weight, and then all of a sudden you lose no more. You just sit there. That's a plateau, right? You just sit at that weight. Now, there are the theories that, because here's the problem, cut too many calories, right? Shut the metabolism down. In fact, just real quick, I did a weight loss challenge once and I couldn't eat all the food they wanted me to eat, and I continued to lose weight because it wasn't so much calorie counting as it was eating, constantly eating, but what I was eating. Because I always show people the example of 100 calories of ice cream being, about the size of a softball, and 100 calories of broccoli being the size of a basketball, right? So calorie counting is out the window. I just don't believe in it at all.
Interesting.
I mean, it's important, but it's not the way to lose weight. We know better. So the plateau, but what can help somebody get over the plateau? If you're now at this where you're doing good, you're eating clean, you've gotten rid of the inflammation, you've got the hormones, the thyroid's running right. Obviously, this gal, we've shut her insulin resistance off. She can think better. She doesn't crave sugar. In fact, she doesn't even want to eat it anymore. She used to be she used to make cakes. That was what she did for a living, cakes and cupcakes. So, she loved that stuff. And if she gets to that point where she hits a plateau, then we make a decision, right? If we've gotten rid of your insulin resistance and you're still eating clean, but get this, the more weight you lose, the better you feel, the more active you are. Now, we know you can't out-exercise a bad diet, but all of these things snowball so the weight keeps coming off. But she gets to that plateau. What has happened? Is it, I'm finding that it gets dark early. I'm sitting down watching television more. I snack. I'm craving to snack, craving to do things with my hands. So now we're giving her things that she can do when that feeling hits, right? Are you really hungry, or are you thirsty? Because when we're thirsty, we think we're hungry. Or are you tired? Because when we're tired, we're hungry, right? So are you thirsty, or are you tired, or can you get up and do something else? Now, if it's a craving, there is a medication. It's called Contrave, but it can also be compounded, so it's much, much less expensive, that can be given to help cut that off. If that's a true craving, if it's working in your brain, we can do that. And maybe it gets you past that hurdle and it gets you back on course. So you stay on that for a while. Obviously there are always the injection. So maybe she goes on those for a while to get over a hump, something to just help get that leptin going back in her body, right? We figure out why she's plateaued. We figure out why you as that person have plateaued. Are you working out too much? Yes, too much. Oh. Working out too much cardiovascular raises your cortisol and makes you hold weight or gain weight.
Interesting.
In fact, I got a gal that's like, I'm gaining weight. And I guarantee you, when I see her, I'm going to go, how much you doing cardio? And I bet she's going to tell me 4 or 5 times a week. And I'm going to say, gotta stop. Because that's why you're gaining weight.
Huh.
Makes no sense. But again, can't out-exercise a bad diet. Is she eating differently? Is she doing more cardio? Because now she has more energy. because we've replaced her testosterone and she needs to be doing less cardio. A couple times a week, some weight resistance, some yoga. I always say, have you ever seen a yoga instructor that's fat?
No.
No. And half the time, that's all they do is yoga. They do nothing more.
Same with Pilates, I think.
Yeah. It's weight resistance. It's body resistance, but it's not cardio. So I try to tell my runners, can't run every day. You've got to, pick a day that you walk. Pick a day that you run a little and walk a little, run a little, walk a little, or do a slow run. But that high intensity stuff that we used to think was the only way to lose weight increases the cortisol and can make you hold on to weight.
That makes sense to me only because people who are extreme runners or doing a lot of this movement, they tend to be the body that everybody thinks of when they're like, oh, I'm going to run and I'm going to be like so-and-so, right?
Yeah.
But they at their level, I've known plenty of people who run every day, very long distances, doing all that. And they need every bit of calories that they can hold on to.
And they're long distance, right? So that means they're slow.
Yeah.
They're not fast. They're not pounding it out.
Mm-hmm.
Sadly, I've seen a lot of women in the summer running and I'm thinking, girl, you need to lift a weight because you look like, spindly arms and legs, right? So, it's, and again, everybody's different, but, it's just knowing some of the things that can happen by cutting too many calories, right? You look at the people that are on extreme weight loss shows and lose all this weight and they always gain it back. Why? Because they cut their calories so low and they work them out so hard that their metabolism totally shuts down. I mean, their leptin levels are totally gone and their metabolism is shut down. And it's almost like coming off of an addiction because you can't just start eating normal again. You have to slowly turn that metabolism back on because every additional calorie will go to weight if you don't.
Wow.
And then figure out what you've screwed up because you may have screwed your thyroid up by that extreme weight loss. It's very hard on the thyroid gland.
So I guess if we're going to bring this around, you hear this right before the holidays, you're gearing up for a great meal with rich food and family and, just different selections of snacks all around the house. Don't feel too guilty. Maybe
don't
make
feel
a different
too guilty,
choice.
But let me share this with you because it's certainly not my goal that you gain a bunch of weight this month and then you have to come see me next month, right? So let me give you a few tips, right? Lots of parties, lots of things going on. Always eat before you go. Always eat before you go and eat good food before you go, right? Clean food, meaning something not in a box or a package. Real ingredients you make yourself. If you eat before you go, you are less likely to eat the stuff that is not good for you. And most of the time at parties, it's going to be processed stuff. I don't know how often people serve real food, let's say chicken kebabs and, it's finger food. It's easy things to eat. It's candies. It's cookies. It's crackers out of a box, right? Cheese, dairy, which can be very inflammatory for people. So eat before you go. That's number one. Number two, if there is healthy food there, eat that first. So if they have some vegetables and they have some fruits and they maybe have some meats and even some cheese, eat that food first with a nice big glass of water. And then you'll also be more likely to eat less likely to eat the other stuff.
I like that.
Now, it's okay to splurge once in a while, right? So you're like, oh my God, I want that cake. I want this. I want that. Those cookies look amazing. You know what? So have a little, eat it. Don't feel guilty. If you're somebody that's been eating clean and eating healthy, and I tell my people all the time, now that I ate that, I might as well eat why even keep eating good? Because I ruined it. You didn't ruin it. Eating something that's not good or something, eating pizza tonight for dinner has not ruined anything if you've been eating clean all the time.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest culprit of weight gain then will be alcohol.
Yep.
I believe it was for every ounce of alcohol turns our metabolism off or slows it down for 2 hours.
Oh.
And for some reason, alcohol weight likes to sit in the middle. We've all seen this person. I notice it more in women because men just kind of tend to get guts, but I'll notice it more in women that have these huge middles and these skinny arms and legs. Those are alcohol women. If they're huge, right? A little thick, estrogen probably, but when it's really big, it's probably alcohol, or there's other things it could be. But, yeah, a lot of times that's what it'll be. I don't know why it sits in the middle. I suppose because it's sugar and we gain weight in the middle with sugar.
I think it's also sneaky. Again, it's the portions. I mean, there's always bigger wine glasses or deeper highball glasses or whatever. Isn't it like an ounce of, a hard liquor is still 130 calories or something like that, or close to it?
Not sure, but remember, counting calories. The 130 calories of alcohol is going to affect your body totally different than 130 calories of broccoli.
True.
Or 130 calories of another vegetable. That's why I say you can't really look at calories.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at it that way, when people will do that, they'll say, you know what? I'm just going to have 2 drinks. That's 260 calories. So instead of eating X, Y, and Z, I'll just cut my calories back by 260 calories. It doesn't work that way. Because alcohol also slows the metabolism down. Where the other foods, if they're clean, speed the metabolism up.
So they got a multiplier.
It is a multiplier, right? It is a multiplier. And I wish I could say how it multiplies. If I could say, well, 130 calories of alcohol is more like, 710 calories of food. I don't know that. I don't know that there's a multiplier for that.
When you're at a party, I feel like that's the way it is though. Because you have some alcohol and then you're like finger food. So it does turn into 700.
Because then you're hungry because you drank.
Yeah.
And if you drank enough, your stomach doesn't feel good the next day. So you make poor decisions on what you eat.
Look, this is my personal experience.
Well, I can't say that I've never had that experience either.
Yeah.
But that again, because we're human and we all live life. There's that old, you can eat good, exercise, do everything perfect, and you'll still die.
It's true. And it's something we got to do.
So you have to know what's important to you. And that is part of what weight loss and working with people and meeting them again, where they are at.
Absolutely. And I think honestly, that's the biggest thing that I could tell ahead of time, before we started talking, just because obviously I know you, Sherri, but a part of your ethos is just how does this personalize to you and what are you working with your own body? Because everybody's different. Every body is different. So.
And trying to make somebody do something that works for me and is not a fit for them, they won't be successful. And my goal is for them to be successful.
Very successful.
Yes. And it's super exciting when they are. And I get to hear these stories about how happy they are or how happy their significant other is or, how much better they feel or, I haven't been able to, my gal, my example, she said, my brain fog is gone. I can think straight again. My husband doesn't have to come with me to these appointments anymore. Wow.
That's great.
Yeah.
What a win.
Total win. And it's not like we're done. We're at the end of everything we can do. We're still doing things. We're still moving forward and she's still losing weight and feeling great.
That's so great. How awesome.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to be the next success story and call Sherri, obviously we can head over to the site, which is balancedbodymedical.com. And there's even a really awesome little hormone quiz you can take if you want to just, see what you might be dealing with.
Give you an idea of what you might be. If you're low with something or something isn't balanced, we were talking about that quiz yesterday and someone said, well, obviously if I check these things, I don't have a hormone problem. I go, but do you know what kind? Because it will tell you what type of hormone problem you have. By the certain boxes. Gotta take the quiz. You can also sign up for a free discovery call so we can talk. 15-minute discovery call doesn't cost you anything. And we'll talk about what your concerns are, what your goals are, whether or not I can help you.
I love that.
So, yeah.
So schedule a free call today.
I'd love to hear from you.
Well, Sherri, this has been wonderful. And obviously I feel like I could talk about weight loss journeys and ideas and tactics and problems along the bumpy road.
I would say that no matter who you go to see to help you, if you go to see somebody, just make sure that it's about you, right? Make sure that they're listening to what you have to say and they are working with what's best for you as a whole person. Not just that, here's some injectable stuff. Give yourself a shot this much this week, this much next week. Good luck. Make sure it's a complete program. Because, it will cost more money, a complete program, but then at least you won't have to do it several times over.
It's true.
Right? A complete program could be a lifetime change, not just I lost weight and now 2 years later I'm back doing a program again. And now 2 years later I'm back doing another one and should have just spent the money in the first place and it make it a lifetime.
All right. I like that. I think that's a fair assumption. And honestly, as we get into January, we're going to see quite a lot of people trying to fit you into their box.
Yes, so, absolutely. And inexpensive and mailed to your home. And, we may be losing those medications because of some changes in the laws. And if they do lose the injectable medications, a lot of people are going to be scrambling, trying to figure out what to do because that's all they've ever done. And they have not taken the time again to learn how to treat the whole person or the whole package. So, or if you're that person that's just been getting those shots and haven't learned anything else and now you can't get them anymore without spending, $1,000 a month, you might want to call me. Talk about some other things we can do.
Get the complete package.
That's right. Treat you as a whole person.
I love that. Well, we'll talk. We're coming up on another. Didn't you say you were going to invite somebody new to the podcast coming up on our next round? Maybe we'll talk. We won't tease it now.
No, because I wanted to. I think I was going to talk to Donna, but with the holidays.
Well, we're going to come.
I'll work on it.
We're going to come up with something so wonderful to talk about during the holidays, so you can sit back, enjoy, and learn more about balancing your body and your life going forward through hormones.
Perfect. Thank you, John.
Thanks, Sherri.
This has been the Balanced Body Medical Podcast with Sherri Griggs, owner of Balanced Body Health and Wellness. If you're looking to find Sherri, go ahead and look for the website, balancedbodymedical.com. If you're looking for the business and you want to find Sherri at her office, you can find her at
10815 Elm Street in Rockbrook Plaza. Thank you.